Hi everyone, my name is Brianne Smith and I'm here with CJ Keefe at Algentle Electrolysis. I'm here today just to go over what I go through on each appointment for electrology. So I started seeing CJ about 3.5 years ago. I have a condition called PCOS where it creates male pattern hair growth. So essentially, if I was left out in the wilderness for a month or two, I'd have a full-on mountain man beard. So CJ helps me with controlling that. As far as the facial hair, I've had it since I was when I was in about 4th or 5th grade, and I was teased for like having a mustache and all of that. And of course, I shaved it, and then the hair got a lot worse, which is what a lot of people experience with unwanted facial hair. So I've tried waxing, tweezing, shaving, creams that I found in the pharmacy over the counter, and I've also done laser hair removal, which unfortunately didn't work. I'm actually surprised I don't look like Freddy Krueger right now with everything that I've done with my skin. So I happened to find CJ on Groupon a few years ago, and electrolysis was was pretty much my last option that I had for permanent hair removal. And so I've been seeing her for 3.5 years, and she'll get into why it takes kind of so long, but I don't know if you're able to see. My cheeks are pretty clear, but down here I definitely have hair growth. So I will flip it over to CJ so she can do a brief introduction. Hi CJ.
Hi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Are you ready for this today?
Yes, I am. Are you ready?
Oh boy, yes.
Okay. So do you want to explain what electrolysis is?
Well, electrolysis is removing hairs one hair at a time. I insert a probe into the hair follicle, and my machine is set up to do a little tiny zap, and it helps kill the hair follicle. However, to kill a hair follicle, you have to get the hair when it's in the early stages of growth. That's when the blood supply is still attached to the hair. Otherwise, you can't kill the hair. So electrolysis is a process, it's a commitment, it's something you have to commit to, because unfortunately there's no way to determine what stage of growth your hair is in. So when you do decide to have electrolysis, you need to understand the importance of consistency and understand that it is time consuming, and it is the only permanent hair removal method out there. There is nothing else, and I'm talking specifically for facial hair, and I'm not anti-laser in any way, but laser is hair reduction if it's on the face and even on the body, but removing body hair using laser is a lot more effective because of the type of hair it is. It's a very different type of hair. When it comes to facial hair is thicker typically, it's coarse, and it's a lot like for women, a man's beard. They're testosterone hairs in most cases, and they're much harder to get rid of. And if you've ever looked at a man and you notice that they can grow full-on beards, it's a type of hair it is. It's a lot like facial hair, and that's why it's so difficult to get rid of. And women make a lot of mistakes in facial hair removal, and in the end causing themselves a lot more problems. And an example would be is if you pluck your hair. Women who pluck their hair, the hairs will go deeper into the skin and become much more difficult to get rid of. They also become a lot thicker. The other thing that women tend to do is you know, the lotions and creams that they put on their face. Essential oils are one of the things, like lavender and tea tree oil. It inspires hair to grow. I recommend to all my clients is to be very careful about anything that you put on your face. Birth control pills is another thing, or any IUDs. Birth control is a big contributing factor, and then of course the conditions, you know, PCOS, Hashimoto's disease. The other thing that is a contributing factor, things like steroids, and just simply genetics. So there's all kinds of reasons for it. Any questions?
So tell me about the machine you're using. What am I looking at here?
Okay, my machine is a CompuBlend machine. It's by Fisher, and it does It's a computer, and I can set it up to try to make you as comfortable as possible. It does both thermolysis, which is a form of electrolysis. It does electrolysis, and it does a combination of the two. What's the difference between the two is the current that's being used. You have AC current and DC current. AC is thermolysis and DC is electrolysis and or galvanic. And so I set it up based on what my client can tolerate. And of course, the higher it is, easier it is. And sometimes it takes a little longer when I got clients.
Like me, who's a big baby.
Exactly. And so it just takes a little bit longer. But the more you can tolerate it, the best the more effective it will be. But it is probably the least invasive hair removal system out there. Sure, it hurts at first. It feels like a little bee sting that goes away, but within an hour, you're completely back to normal. As long as you have somebody that doesn't set it at the highest setting, you know, there should be no problem with it. You might get a few little red bumps, maybe even little white bumps, but other than that, you'll be perfectly fine.
So what do you recommend as before or after care?
Before, if you're in treatment, you should always, you know, moisturize, just overall good skin care, exfoliating. Aftercare, I wouldn't put anything, any creams or lotions on unless it would be like a Caladryl or calamine if you need it, but a lot of people really don't need anything. Witch hazel, I absolutely recommend witch hazel because it's a very natural
astringent.
Astringent, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and get started if you want to walk us through the process of electrolysis. And I volunteer to be a guinea pig so you guys can see what CJ is going to do with their electrolyty.
Okay, well, turn around here and get your head down here and we'll get this party started.
Yay, so much fun.
I want to get in the
Okay.
And don't forget, you still got to kind of hold this.
So what am I holding?
Okay, you are holding the probe. That's a ground, actually, not the probe. You're holding the ground, and that grounds you so that my machine works. If you drop that at any point throughout the process, the machine stops working.
Okay.
Okay? What I'm going to do first is wipe your face off and make sure it's clean before we get started.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you can definitely see more of the hairs here.
If they only saw you when you first came in.
Oh my God, it was so bad. I walked in like caked in makeup, and when CJ just cleaned off my face, just I think you went white.
Well, I hate to say it, but you kind of reminded me of my dad.
I think I reminded me of my dad too.
A 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, and it's always been something I've been super self-conscious about, so of course I'm going to post it on the internet for everyone to see.
Well, fortunately, it's something that you've managed to get over time and that we've worked through. Okay, so what I do is I insert a probe. Okay, this is what the probes look like, or a box, I should say.
There we go.
Everyone gets a new one each time they come in. Okay, and it is about the width of a hair. And what I do is I insert a probe into the hair follicle. Of course,
It's hard to see with the... Are we turned on?
Yes, we're turned on.
Well, I mean, is the machine turned on?
Yes, the machine's turned on. Okay. And we wait for it to beep, and then I remove the hair. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
So it's each individual hair gets zapped.
Yep, each individual hair. And that's why it's so time consuming too. It takes time to do, you know, each individual hair. I can only do so many in an hour that you and I have together. And if you recall, when we first got together, I think I did a 2 by 2 inch square because you had hairs growing out of 2 hair follicles, growing out of 1 follicle, and oh my goodness, you had such a lot of hairs. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I do, and I still do. So, are hairs like killed the first time you do this, or is it like you have to keep?
It's a process. Like I said, you have to get the hair when the two pieces are attached. Once it detaches and the hair shrinks down and starts forming a new hair follicle, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to wait until it comes back again. And that's why, like I said, it's a commitment. It's a process. It is time consuming, but it is the only permanent method. And you know that you have probably, if I was to guess, compared to when we first started, you have probably about a third of the hair left from the time we started, because they were so, like I said, you had 2 hairs growing out of hair follicles. You had hairs practically sitting on top of hairs. And where we're at today, once you shave, you can't even really tell there's anything underneath it either. So I know you don't wear nearly the amount of makeup that you used to wear.
So in between appointments, what do you recommend for keeping the hair down? Like shaving or waxing or what?
Okay, well, for somebody like you, it would be shaving. But for some other women, I just say trim it. Just use it, because there's a few hairs and they're not that noticeable. But yeah, you need to just continue shaving until we pretty much get rid of them all.
Okay. And so, is there any way this hair could come back later? Say, like, I get pregnant or like start taking a medication that causes hair growth?
All right. The answer is absolutely. Unfortunately, hair is about hormones. So as a woman, we're all about the hormones. So if there is something going on in your life, pregnancy is a perfect example, as you said. It's absolutely possible to have hair come back. If you are an aging woman in postmenopausal and even leading up to it, as you get older, you start losing your estrogen and progesterone. So yes, you stand a very good chance of having facial hair. Believe it or not, I would bet that most women have a few hairs, or 1 or 2 hairs, or maybe even a whole chin full of hairs that they have to deal with by the time they become postmenopausal in their 50s and 60s. I mean, it's just the reality of it, and we don't like it, and we want it to go away forever and ever. But the reality is it's not possible. As long as you have hormones and as long as they fluctuate, it's absolutely possible. The best anybody can ever offer when it comes to hair removal is get it to the point where it's tolerable, something you can deal with.
And so how much does this cost, electrolysis?
I hate to put a price on that, because every person that is in this business does it a little bit differently as far as, each visit costs. So I'm really not going to comment on that. And a lot of it depends on the location where you live and how many electrolysis are in the area that you live in. But, and as far as how long even electrolysis takes, it varies from person to person. It depends on how much hair you have. It depends on the settings that you can tolerate, because it does take longer if you are somebody who has a hard time tolerating it. And it is, it's not easy, but it's worth it, especially if you have a really big problem.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I would say, yeah. There's just so much stigma around facial hair, especially women with facial hair. It's crippling to, like, my own self-esteem. Like, I hate when people touch me or anything like that.
Yep.
And so, do you see a lot of clients like that?
I do, and I think it's absolutely amazing the amount of women with full beards, not just a few chin hairs. I mean, full beards. Hormone replacement therapy is another big contributor to facial hair, and they come in with full beards, and there's a lot, and it's just amazing to me to see that.
Do you see it happening more with like a certain race or age group, or?
Nope, crosses them all. I mean, anybody, could be anybody. And I'm really, especially young people, it's just so hard to see. I don't wish this on anyone.
Mm-mm. So how did you get started in electrolysis?
Well, I'm an electrolysis client. I used to, when I was like 32, I had electrolysis. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And then I got laid off of my IT job and wanted to start my own business. And I always told my daughter, I said, you know, because she needed to have electrolysis. She has PCOS. I said, you know, if I ever got laid off, I'm going to go to school and learn electrolysis because I thought it was so cool and start my own business. Sure enough, got laid off. Moved to Philadelphia, went to school and learned electrolysis and haven't looked back since. It's a very rewarding job helping all these women.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you see a lot of people that maybe tried laser that come in?
Believe it or not, most of my clients are ex-laser.
Oh.
That's a lot. A good share of them, let's put it that way.
Can electrolysis treat like any hair type? Because I hear a lot of my friends with the baby fuzz that they want to get rid of.
Okay, baby fuzz doesn't make sense. Everybody has baby fuzz, and we have to get over that. Okay, I can only remove thick, coarse hairs. Like I said, and as a culture, we have to get over the idea that baby fuzz is bad. Baby fuzz is okay to have. But electrolysis can remove any color hair, any skin type. It does not matter. And for the most part, anywhere on the entire body with the exception of the eyes, inside the nose, inside the ears.
Oh, that sounds painful.
And moles. Unless we have an approval from a physician that it's okay to remove the hairs from a mole.
So what would you tell someone who's looking into laser or hair removal options?
If they're looking for hair removal options, I say, you know, depending on what area you're looking in and what color hair, you need to just know what your options are. If you're dark-skinned a person, I would, you know, not even consider any form of laser. If you have really light skin or white skin and black hair, you can do laser on your entire body, but I would never recommend laser on the face.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, I don't think it works as well. I see a lot of laser clients. The possibility of scarring is always there. You know, the quality of the person doing the technician, the quality of the person or the machine that's being used means a lot when it comes to the success of hair removal on the face. And I wouldn't do that, not on the face. However, I think laser is wonderful for the body hair. I have absolutely no problem with people doing it on the body. I think it's fine. So, anything else from me, young lady?
All right. I think we're good right now. If any of you have questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and either CJ and I will answer them or make an entirely new video if we get enough questions. So, thank you so much for interviewing with me, CJ.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you can find her on, what's your website? Do you remember? I made her website, so I should know it.
Yeah, it's AlgentleLLC.com.
And Algentle is spelled
ALGENTLE.
Okay.
LLC.
All right. Thank you.